I have felt a disturbance in the force. That's right, Amazon, the people who butchered Lord of the Rings, are creating a Fallout TV show. It's very concerning because I absolutely love Fallout. It's one of my, if not my favorite video game series of all time, barring a lot of the other later games. But it seems that every single video game TV adaptation has pretty much gone to shit.
What? Huh? Oh, there they are. Oh! Hey! Jonathan Nolan, Mr. Howard!
Good catch, buddy.
Any clue how irresponsible you are?
How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host for Savior. Yes, welcome back to the channel, my lovely little vault dwellers. Now, if you are new to the channel, make sure that you do subscribe. I would appreciate it a lot. If you do like the video, just consider subscribing. It takes 2 seconds of your time, but it means so much to me. You have no idea. I work so hard on all of my videos. I try and pump out as much content as I humanly can and deprive myself of all other human activity, so I would appreciate it if you did just subscribe and join this fantastic community that we are building here together. And before we get into this Amazon Fallout TV show video, I just quickly want to say, if you do want to support me, do consider becoming a member or checking out my music on Spotify. Anything like that helps, donation, whatever. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you probably know I absolutely love Fallout, and it wouldn't surprise you that of course I am a legionary man, considering what my philosophy is. For me, Fallout kind of went downhill with Fallout 4. I think for a lot of people, you know, you can agree with me when I say Fallout peaked at New Vegas. And I enjoyed Fallout 3 actually a lot. That was when Bethesda was actually in their prime, and even though they were a little bit outdated, they made up for it with atmosphere, storytelling, and just an amazing Fallout 3D realized world. Nowadays, they are very behind, okay, but I do feel like they did butcher Fallout later, especially with 76, and we all know the history around that, so there's no point just going over old details. So it's safe to say that Fallout really means a lot to me because it was pretty much my first open world big RPG game that I ever experienced. I remember talking about it with my friends in high school back in the day. I was so excited because one of my friends had like the Fallout official guidebook. The amount of stuff that you could do in Fallout just blew me away, and I remember I had to convince my parents that no, this game isn't violent, and then of course they found a video of some madman going around wearing a clown mask chopping up a bunch of civilians with a ripper, which is the simulation mission in Fallout 3, which if you remember, you'll know just how amazing that mission is. So it really does mean a lot to me because it really made me fall in love with just gaming in general, with, you know, the atmosphere in games, something that can really, you know, pull you in and the kind of make your own adventure, make your own story. It really made me fall in love with the potential of storytelling in video games, which I later discovered in Dark Souls and stuff like that. The kind of less hand-holding design approach was very new back then and very interesting. Now, of course, the open world formula is done to death and it's become completely the opposite and become very formulaic and unoriginal and, yeah, very much predictable.
It was excrement.
Did you say it was excellent?
It was crummy.
Did you say it was yummy?
It was an awful piece of junk that made me want to puke all night.
Did you say it was an awesome piece of spunk that you want to shoot tonight?
It was not worth the wait.
It's safe to say that Todd Howard didn't know what to do with the Fallout franchise. That's why we got Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. And it's one of the reasons why Fallout New Vegas still stands the test of time and is still one of the best RPG games to ever exist. So, like many of you, I was very excited when I heard that Amazon is making a Fallout TV show. But when I heard it was Amazon, some red flags popped up because we all know what happened with the Rings of Power, I think it was called. I can't even remember. I think it was the Rings of Power. The Lord of the Rings, Amazon disaster, okay? Nowadays, media and shows just don't have enough creative backbone. I've talked about this before, but new creative ideas are on the decline, and this is simply because of the lack of creativity in the industry, which has been scientifically proven because of our current use of media, technology, and the kind of over-reliance on tropes, and also the fact that these studios are afraid now of making something that takes risk because they only care about profit, because they only care about the shareholders and the money that it generates. They don't care about the fans, and also they have to play it safe because of the identity warfare that is currently going on in modern day society. That's why a lot of shows play it safe and they pander to the modern audience. Just look at modern day Disney. That is the prime example of how you completely destroy once good original ideas and turn them into safe regurgitated garbage for the modern audience, because there's a new currency in media, and I don't want to call it the woke currency. The word woke has lost all meaning, but at the end of the day, modern day media only cares about forcing in modern day ideology into fiction, which should never be the case, because fiction should stand by itself as fiction, but modern ideology has to be intertwined with it now, and of course to appeal to the companies out there who will make them the most money, who will advertise and sponsor the show. So let's talk about why I was so excited about a Fallout TV show, and then we're going to talk about what the reality actually is, okay? So Fallout to me is all about the morality, complexity of human beings. That's what makes the Fallout games so interesting, especially the older games, okay? You know, stopping at New Vegas, let's just say. The deep morality choices that you have in the game is what makes Fallout so interesting. And having all of these different tribes and different societies, you know, kind of reform in this new broken wasteland, that's what's so interesting, you know, this rebirth of the world in this kind of broken world, but seeing how people are still struggling to create a form of society and how these different ideologies take place. You know, the Brotherhood of Steel have a completely different ideology and philosophy compared to the Enclave, and of course they clash. The same with the Legion and the Brotherhood of Steel or the NCR. All of this kind of stuff is what makes Fallout interesting. The lore of Vault-Tec and exploring these different vaults, the fact that all of these different crazy creatures can now exist because of the radiation mutating all of life, like the super mutants or the ghouls. The atmosphere in these games is just so good, okay? The lore is already amazing, and it does have a rich lore actually to it, because the older games really cared about that attention to detail, and it feels like this show just doesn't give a crap about the lore, okay? And usually I don't care that much, you know, if they want to tweak a few things, make it original and creative, that's good, okay, to some degree, because that's what you want. You want new creative ideas being thrown around. The problem that I see with Amazon's Fallout TV show, and why I say the Fallout TV show is bad or the Fallout TV show looks bad, okay, because we can't judge it as of yet, but the Fallout TV show looks bad to me so far, because they don't seem to care about actually paying respect to the lore. You can change a few things about the lore, but you still have to pay respect to the lore, but it doesn't seem that the Fallout TV show cares about that or doing anything like that. It seems to be they're taking the Todd Howard approach of basically doing their own thing and boiling it down into the most simplistic ideas possible, so it's, you know, digestible for the masses. This is the big problem with adapting video games to entertainment like TV shows or movies, okay? It never really works because the storytelling in these games are fundamentally different, because, you know, you are experiencing it, you're choosing how you experience it. That's the whole point of a game. TV shows and movies, of course, have to be linear by design, and it kind of goes against the philosophy of Fallout, because like I said, it's all about these different societies, these tribes, you know, fighting amongst each other and having discourse and dialogue with each other and seeing where their ideas clash. That's what makes Fallout interesting. The NCR, the Legion, all of these different groups that spring up, like the Kings in New Vegas. Then of course you have the world building itself, like the sick dark humor in all of the Fallout games, the corporations that exist like Vault-Tec, just the items and how this world was actually created, you know, how they fueled their technology. All of that stuff is actually very important in Fallout lore, and it seems like they're just stripping away the actual detail and boiling it down to the most simplistic ideas possible, and that's where the problem is with Amazon's Fallout TV show. From what it looks like, the Brotherhood of Steel have just become a generic government, okay? They've just become the generic, almost good guys, the authority in this area. First of all, that doesn't make any sense within Fallout lore because it should be occupied by the NCR, but they can, you know, explain it away, or they can do something unique and different. But the whole point of the Brotherhood of Steel was to collect technology. That's what their cult is all about. That's what their tribe is all about. Collecting technology because they think it can be dangerous in the wrong hands. But it seems like the Brotherhood of Steel doesn't care about that in the TV show. And the same with the enemy. There's probably going to be one just main enemy faction. That's it. There's not going to be lots of different groups, you know, with their own ideas and their own ideologies, and then seeing them interact. That would be interesting. I also have a problem with some of the direction choice, okay? So for example, the ghouls should be absolutely horribly mutilated, okay? If you've ever seen a ghoul, you'll know what I'm talking about. As a smooth skin, I can definitely say that they look terrible, okay? But in the Fallout TV show, it looks just like a person wearing a rubber mask. The budget for this at times looks really good, then at other times just looks terrible, like I said, with the ghouls. It would also be interesting to see how meta they take it, if they actually make callbacks to it being an RPG in the TV show, like someone actually pulls out the Pip-Boy and, you know, kind of freezes time, or VATS or something like that. I kind of hope that they don't do that too much, but at the same time it would be kind of interesting. To me, it just seems a little bit frustrating because they've got so much great lore and world design to build upon, and you know, they've got this incredible universe to make this TV show, but it seems that they're just choosing the big moments from the game, you know, like Megaton, like the Brotherhood of Steel, the iconic moments, the Vault Boy, the Vaults, and all that kind of stuff. It seems like this is going to be a callback TV show, and what I mean by that, it's just going to be filled with, oh, I remember this, oh, I remember this location. It's also important to remember just how simplistic the writing became with Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, and I know Todd Howard doesn't exactly have his hands on this TV show, but remember, it is being directed by this kind of post-Fallout, if that makes any sense. And just looking at the current state of TV shows, okay, like The Witcher, The Last of Us, and just most things in general, okay, the writing is usually just terrible, okay? It's usually saturated, like I said, with modern ideology, or it's very one-note and it has to be either constantly humorous, which would be fine if they play into that dark humor, but if it's overboard, then they'll lose the tone completely. And it just worries me because what we saw with The Lord of the Rings and how they handled the writing with that, making it modern and cringeworthy, they could do the same thing with Fallout, and that is very concerning. It does give me hope that this is made by the same studio as The Boys. In fact, that's what gives me the most hope. But at the same time, you have to remember that this is being made in 2023, so you can't hold out that much hope. I just feel like they're just going to run with the most standout iconic moments from Fallout and somehow create a basic story, you know, between the good and the bad, the Brotherhood of Steel, because now they're this all-powerful government, versus, you know, a group of bandits or something like that. There's going to be some cool backs along the way, but I just feel like they're going to miss the nuance and the deep world building which makes Fallout so interesting in the first place, you know, asking these questions of good and bad. And basically, the whole point of Fallout is there's never really a clear moral choice, that there's always grey in everything that we do as humans. That's what makes it complex and interesting. So I really hope that it's not just window dressing and they truly nail this. I'm very, very hopeful, but at the same time, just from looking at modern day trends and where TV shows and media is nowadays, I'm just very doubtful. And that is why I think the Fallout TV show looks bad and Amazon's Fallout TV show is bad, but hopefully I'm wrong and actually it's good. I guess we'll just have to wait to see, because Fallout really does mean a lot to me, and it's just such an interesting universe with interesting characters, And it's this perfect blend of, you know, futurism, sci-fi, where anything can actually happen. You can have aliens come down, you know, the wild wasteland kind of aspect of it. Nothing feels completely out of place in a Fallout universe, but you can't take it too far, like Todd Howard often does. And I did see in the trailer this weird Vault-Tec guy with like a Cyclops eye. I just hope they stick to the theme correctly, the dark humor, and this futurism theme. It seems like Bethesda doesn't truly understand the identity of Fallout. They seem to think that it was the 50s and then a nuclear warfare happened. The universe of Fallout was actually a 50s futurism idea of what the future actually would look like, but they stripped a lot of that back, and I just feel like they're going to do the same thing. I feel like they're not going to pay respect to what New Vegas created and the actual lore behind it, and that is very concerning, and that they might just fill it with a bunch of modern day writing and direction tropes. Classic good guy versus bad guy story, not much complexity in that. That's what I'm concerned about, but I really hope that that isn't the case, because like I said, Fallout is so amazing because it's got that perfect, interesting blend of a unique sci-fi world where it's not hard sci-fi, but it's this unique take on futurism and sci-fi and realism that makes it so interesting. So here's hoping they actually get it. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you do subscribe. And those are just my thoughts so far on why the Amazon Fallout TV show looks bad, but hopefully it actually is good. I'm just not that optimistic because I've been burnt too many times, and this is a big corporation behind it. We are very lucky with The Boys, but we can't exactly say for sure that this is going to be a win. Just because it's made by the same studio doesn't mean that it will have the same writers and all that kind of stuff behind it. So we'll see, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.